Secure attachment is key to healthy lifelong development, but perhaps you've wondered how you can blend attachment supportive parenting with optimal sleep. Or maybe you've asked yourself, how is attachment relevant to sleep? There are so many confusing and conflicting pieces of information out there. If you've wondered where to even start, then you're in the right place. This is exactly how Isidora felt when she reached out initially for one-to-one sleep support. She was a parent who had a corporate working background, and having her children profoundly changed her. She became a fierce advocate for responsive, attachment-based parenting and now runs a phenomenally successful international practice supporting parents to follow their instincts and prioritise attachment. I'm Lindsay, and I've trained hundreds of parents and professionals on the Holistic Sleep Coaching Programme to gain the knowledge, confidence and skills like Isidora to optimise sleep without using methods that parents invested in responsive parenting aren't comfortable with. If that sounds good, feel free to book a call to discuss how we can support you to build your dream business at the Holistic Sleep Coaching Programme. But for now, sit tight as I explain attachment in a nutshell, why it's relevant to sleep, and how we can optimize sleep while prioritizing attachment. Secure attachment is key to many long-term life outcomes. You may already know that securely attached people tend to have more positive relationships, better job opportunities, better mental health, fewer sleep problems, ironically enough, and even higher income. It's often defined as the enduring connection between a child and their primary caregiver in the early years of life. It provides the foundation for a child's self-esteem, view of the world, and their blueprint for human relationships. A child's early experiences often shape whether they are securely or insecurely attached, which in turn influences their confidence, trust, mental health, and life opportunities. Attachment is not a one-off event. It is formed through a series of interactions between a child and their caregivers. The repeated experience of having a need and that need being met promptly and consistently by the attachment figure develops a child's general confidence that people are generally good and can be relied upon, and that struggles can be overcome. Over the years, researchers have found that it is not just prompt responsiveness that contributes to secure attachment, but sensitivity and secure-based provision. Sensitivity is the ability of a parent to recognise, accurately interpret and promptly respond to infant cues. This is often called attunement, and it's important as it promotes bonding, improves relationships, and facilitates empathy and social awareness. Secure base provision, on the other hand, is similar to sensitivity, but it's more specific to providing safety and interpreting attachment-seeking behaviours, specifically crying, preventing exposure to and supporting through frightening experiences, and picking babies up and holding them chest to chest. Attachment theory is a huge topic and one we cover extensively on the Holistic Sleep Coaching Programme, but since time is short, I'll just give you the 2-minute version. John Bowlby is often credited as the father of modern attachment theory. He argued that in the early months, a child exhibits certain behaviours designed to get their parent close. We can think of these as a child showing their dependence on their caregiver. Many theorists argue that meeting a child's need for dependence leads to greater independence later on, at a time the child is developmentally ready. Later on, attachment behaviours, or those proximity-seeking behaviours, may arise when a child is sick, scared, frustrated, confused, or has some other big feeling they can't manage alone. In fact, adults have these proximity-seeking behaviours too. Can you remember a time you've had bad news, had a shock, or felt angry or wound up and needed to talk to your parent or a partner? So, how is all this relevant to sleep? Well, maybe you've already figured it out, but there are 2 main reasons why, if you're interested in supporting sleep, you need to know about attachment. The first reason is about us. Parenting is a 24/7 gig. What we do overnight and how we show up for our little ones also contributes to secure attachment. Those hundreds or thousands of tiny interactions form the building blocks of secure attachment. When we consistently show up for our children over time, this is what builds that strong bond. Now, of course, we don't get it right 100% of the time, and fortunately, children don't need us to, but it's about a general pattern of getting it right a little more often than we get it wrong. The second reason is about children. Children's behaviour occurs across 24 hours a day as well. If you think about it, they have needs night and day and will express those needs when they have them. Remember those proximity-seeking behaviours that are hardwired? What do I mean by that? Well, if kids have needs they can't handle by themselves, whether these are emotional, psychological, physical, relational, nutritional, or related to health and development, they will try to get us near, usually by crying, calling out, or signalling in some way. So this sounds pretty simple, doesn't it? Except it isn't, for a couple of reasons. Showing up consistently for little ones is hard. While it's normal for children to have needs at 3 a.m, nobody said this was easy, especially in a world where parental leave is often short, the role of raising children is undervalued, and getting back to the workplace is often prioritised. There are so many confusing theories about what does and does not damage attachment. It's often the thing parents are really worried about. After all, parents want what's best for their child, don't they? But it can be hard for them to navigate a sustainable path with sleep and parenting when there are so many theories about what helps or hinders attachment. So let's ask the big question then. Does working on sleep damage attachment? It's a perfectly reasonable question, but I'm afraid it doesn't have a short and simple answer. The reason for that is that it depends on two things: the child's inherent vulnerability, resilience, risk factors, and response to sleep changes, and exactly what strategy is used. There are many studies that have explored whether a non-responsive option like controlled crying or cry it out damages attachment. Advocates of this type of sleep training interpret those studies as evidence that sleep training is not harmful to attachment. However, we need to be careful here because the studies are flawed, small, do not follow children up long term, use fairly homogeneous samples, and there are methodological biases and flaws within the research. This means that we can't have total confidence at this moment in time. So am I saying that sleep training damages attachment? No, not exactly. I'm saying it depends. And although we don't have proof of harm, we also don't have conclusive proof of safety. But as a training provider that does not endorse or promote non-responsive sleep training like controlled crying or cry it out anyway, what about gentler options? Well, our entire ethos at the Holistic Sleep Coaching Programme is that it is normal for children to have needs, and we do not believe that ignoring those needs, whether night or day, is appropriate. We also recognise that we're not for everyone, and we particularly provide training for professionals who want to serve families who are specifically looking for a more responsive, gentle and holistic approach to sleep. That's not necessarily a moral judgment about those who pick mainstream sleep training, by the way, but we're just here for the alternative narrative. So the reason you're probably here is that you are deeply committed to attachment and responsiveness, but you also know that sleep challenges suck and some parents really are struggling to cope. So is there any hope? The great news is that when we reject a mainstream behaviourist paradigm and all the strategies that go with it, I'm talking strict schedules, ditching all-night feeds at 6 months, controlled crying, drowsy but awake, and unrealistic expectations of 12 hours of solid sleep. When we bin all that, you might think that there are no tools left in the toolbox. Nothing could be further from the truth. We've lost a few tools that weren't fit for purpose, sure, but it forces us to go deep into how we optimise sleep without strict, non-responsive sleep training. And that's what the holistic sleep coaching approach is all about. I coined this term over 10 years ago to describe a way of improving sleep via multiple backdoor routes that all seek to eliminate the underlying causes of sleep disturbance. No unrealistic expectations here, just solid sleep science, a focus on attachment theory, mental health, and exploring all the aspects that affect sleep: feeding, nutrition, development, play, exercise, lifestyle, social interaction, relationships, sensory stimulation, health, emotional development, and more. There's no compromise here. You really can improve sleep without ever worrying that attachment may be strained. And if you're someone who doesn't want to compromise between good sleep and secure attachment, then book a call to see if we're a good fit. All you need to do is click the link below. And if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Speak to you soon.